Hey, hey. Hi, guys. AC, Denisa, Jessica H. Thank you, everybody. Oh, good morning, Denisa. All right. So let's get into this. It's going to be a check in for the topic of love, but I do have like a focus here. Um, and I want to take a look at what somebody either wants to say or what is it that needs to be known. I'm a little bit murky on the best way to phrase it. The that song has been in my head all day long. I've listened to it a couple times today as well. And as I was turning this on, I was hearing it again. But it is, oh gosh, Violent Crimes, Jersey Club. And it's the song is like Fallen and Dreamin'. Um, I know you want to like cry all night. And it just, that component of it is in my head. Okay, so we have a Queen of Swords. I don't know if the Queen of Swords is the one who is like aware that somebody else is going through a really maybe a tough time right now. And she's like, look, I get it. I know you're maybe hiding, stresses that you've been dealing with. Or is this her? I'm not sure yet. She looks in deep thought, but also in a statue's mode. So she could be repressing a lot of emotions. Two of Wands, somebody wants to send a letter or a message here, but they may not be yet because the Two of Wands is like, I'm at that crossroads. Do I send this? Do I write this? Do I send a message like this? It feels like somebody is aware that another person is going through a tough time, but with the world and the map, it feels like they're at a great distance, right? The only reason we usually have to send a message is because we can't easily get to that person and communicate to them. Queen of Swords, are you the one picking up on a vibe or are you the one suppressing emotions? Wow, King of Swords sideways. That doesn't help me in defining which she is, but now we know we're talking about a paired couple. And when I say paired couple, I'm going to say two people that feel each other's energy in a really strong way. Now, this could be a couple that has been married, even if they're divorced or they've been in a relationship or they feel like they, at one point in time anyway, they were good together. But he's sideways. So we can't, I know he's definitely picking up on her vibe. She would also be able to pick up on his. And sideways cards for me, I read sideways cards. And to me, it always talks about like a two-way flow or something that is incomplete. Um, he's not exactly in karmic mode because he's not in the reverse, but he's not fully upright either. So I'm thinking that he might be the one struggling right now and she's picking up on it. Is that the case? By the way, that song is so like I love that the melody of that. We have the Star card upright. Star card is the need to heal, and this is Aquarius energy. So we definitely could have a divine feminine that is sensing his grief, pain, distress. She could be wondering, do I send a message? I feel like I want to. I feel like a divine feminine just wants to reach out to a masculine. And if she's feeling that way, maybe there's a reason for it. Actually, hold on. Let's get the higher perspective. Universe, you want to weigh in and tell us for her. Let's see. We have the Chariot sideways, and the universe is like, hey, I'm not in charge of everybody's intuition, but if you're thinking that you want to do something, if you're feeling like you need to move forward, maybe it's because he needs to move forward too. Maybe this would be the opening of the door, the opening of the energetic pathway. Maybe he's saying, please call me in, please reach out to me, please invite me in so that I know I can come towards you. The universe is like, if her feminine intuition, and I'll say it that way, but please remember, I don't actually read for genders. These could be two men, two women, but we would still have complementary energy. So one is the sun, one is the moon. It doesn't matter if they're the same gender. But we're going to go ahead and say, we obviously have a dude here in the Chariot. So we're going to assume that this is the King of Swords. He's brave enough to come forward, but not if he'd be intruding, is what this says. So if she's picking up on the I need to maybe invite him in, or I'm picking up on a distress signal being emitted from his heart to mine. This has been going on for a while that she's been feeling this. This could be that enough time has passed that there has been a lot of growth, but he's still wondering, do I have a space in her life? Would she want to talk to me? If time has passed, I don't want to intrude. The universe says a lot of time has passed, and instead of a bond getting weaker, it's actually matured. I don't want to say it's gotten stronger, but matured. So there's a different quality to it. But we saw him as a king and queen of swords. We already know that they have a mental vibe, right? This is now, I think it's important to say that it's a mental connection. It's not necessarily heart centered. It's not intuition centered exactly. Because the swords are all mental. Explain that part. Universe, can you give me a little bit more on that? Because I say that, but I don't know what I mean necessarily. The Tower. The universe is like, oh, come on, Kate. The neurons in the brain are firing. There's really no mental blockage. It almost feels like whatever has been like a 3D blockage, it just doesn't matter anymore. These two could have had an epic fight, an epic failure, an epic flop of a relationship, but time has passed, and the only thing that remains now is, yeah, but I can still feel you and I want to talk to you. I'm not saying that these two are like now magically going to be good together and they should get back together and have a happily ever after, but it does say egos have crashed down. And what happens when we strip away everything else, all the bits and pieces that pissed us off, that made us, harbor hard feelings? It's like when life gets really, really real. If you've ever had like an argument going on with, a family member or something, and you're like, I'm not talking to that person, I'm so mad at them. And then you get a phone call that, heaven forbid, another family member's in trouble. And it's like, you don't care anymore about your stupid fight that you had over the Scrabble game on Thanksgiving. And you claim they cheated and that wasn't really a word. You don't freaking care. You're not mad at your sibling anymore. It's like, get in the car. I'm coming to pick you up. We got to go get to Nana's, and it just doesn't matter anymore. Sometimes life gets more real than the stuff that we thought was a big deal at one point. Now, keep in mind, these two have a lot in common because they are king and queen of swords. I'm not saying all things can be swept under the rug and don't matter anymore. Abuse, absolutely not. I just want to be really clear on that. I don't tell stories about, oh, well, this person abused the other person, but sure, don't sweep it under the rug, take them back. No, I don't do that. On my stories, you'll never hear me be okay with any of that. So my stories don't have that element in it. I just want to be clear. These characters in this storyline, though, there was ego, there was possibly argument, but over time, these two always had more in common. Maybe they both had egos, we all do. Maybe they both had points that were valid, but they also maybe sometimes could have handled conversations better. But this says that their connection of the mind, obviously they still care about each other. There's a ton of emotion here. And if anything, these two really want to connect. So my impression is that these could be two people that had a falling out. They never stopped loving each other. They never stopped wishing the best for each other. But I don't even know, did they ever know they were? I'm not sure that they knew they were going to get to the point where what happened between us before, we can draw a line in the sand and we can say that was the old us. That was the old me. That was the old you. And maybe we were fiery and it was always hot blooded and we had a lot of passion, but also a lot of fights. I feel like they were either kind of nuts about each other and also kind of nuts. I say that with love. I fit into that category. Everybody has met Sassy Kate. You all know I have some spice to me. So definitely sassafras over here. But so I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I don't mean to be offensive to these characters because it'd be like me telling on my own self. Yeah, I think that they both probably contributed to the red hot fire, and they probably were passionate about each other. And when they fought, it was probably fireworks also. But they could draw a line between who they used to be and how they used to react to each other, maybe lose the ability to communicate effectively, and they could have a do-over. But the thing is, it's not to pretend that how they were before didn't happen, right? This is a whole new circle, and it's like everything we are is still a trait in us, but maybe we've matured to the point where it's like, I know what pisses you off, and I know that sometimes you bark and froth at the mouth at me, but I also wouldn't like either back away from you or run from you, because we're not really dysfunctional. We just need to get better control of, the way we communicate and stuff like that. That's what it feels like. Both of them are on the same page. They could have a do-over, at least says the universe. They could have a do-over by not pretending that like we will never express emotion again. We will be so calm when we will sip tea instead of communicate about the things that we're pissed off over. No. They'll be pissed, but they also have like a better handle on it, and maybe a better checks and balances system, and a more I don't know, it's like everything that they already were to each other that remains. They don't forget it, but they are maybe just a little bit more, mature. I don't want to call them immature before, but you know what I'm saying. Or at least I don't know, maybe I haven't explained it very well. But these two could have a tremendous do-over. And the fact that she's picking up on this vibe where so much that she wants to reach out to them. What is it that is actually, let me stick with that deck. Universe, why is she getting the vibe that I want to reach out to him? I feel like I want to reach out to him. 5 of Sacred Circles, because she's picking up on his loneliness. He's like hovering around outside her camp. She feels the pull toward him a lot right now. Okay, universe, you want to give us some insight into him at the moment? 7 of Swords. Is he pretending that he's not around when in fact he is? What's the 7 of Swords is lying, but he's grinning over here. It's not a game. Hold on. Oh my, but the Queen of Wands is here. He's, you know what it is? Look, I'm not saying he's like smirking. Not all times do we have to look at the 7 of Swords as a terrible card. In fact, anytime you're looking at any card, what surrounds it is more important than the card on its own. That changes the entire flow. It changes all the meaning, to me anyway. And this is how I tell stories. This is the way I operate. If I'm looking for the entire story, and I am a storyteller, I don't do standalone cards really. So I look for the context where, how does this all fit together, right? He's grinning because he already knows, I can't believe this. Damn, she can feel me. She, with her eyes shut, with me nowhere near her, she feels me, and I know she does. I can tell when she's reading me. So I don't know. Remember, we already talked about them having like some crazy ass connection that's really powerful. Denise, you angel. Thank you, love. You're so sweet. Thank you, honey. You're so generous. RS, babe, I'm sorry I'm keeping you up late. This looks like he's grinning because he can't help himself. It's like, I know she feels my energy. I know I've been just energetically hyper focused on her, trying to send her these thoughts, even if I'm not exactly admitting it, but I know she can feel me. How do you know that? How do you know that? With your little saucy grin. What he's saying is, I think the real reason he's got that little grin is he's like, I know that we are still in each other's, like in sync, like that 6 of Pentacles. I want to give to her. I want her to let me give to her. And I want her to want me too. And my higher self is, I'm so sure of it. I know she can feel my energy. I know she can. He's happy. He's really happy because it's like, I know she loves me still. I don't think that was ever in doubt. The fact that she's like, I feel like I want to reach out to him. I feel like I don't want him to be out there on his own, alone. I feel all of a sudden like I want to send him healing energy, no matter how far away he is. And he's over here going, I know she still loves me. I know she did even when we had our biggest problems. I know she loved me. This is 2 people who, I'm not saying that they're Like, oh, whatever, they'll love me no matter what I do. I don't have to be good to them. No, it's more like, even after all this time, I can feel that person's energy. They must have little signs and symbols. He's got to be coming across little things that let him know. How do you know that she's thinking of you with loving energy? Two of Swords. He's like, because I wouldn't be this close to making a move toward her unless I felt something in her energy flow. She and I, we have this mental chess game. We've always had it. Okay. A chess game or a symbol of a chess piece could be something for him. 8 of Cups, 5 of Swords. There's some element here where I almost think he's said something out loud, maybe to other people who know him. Oh my God, AC, what are you doing? Oh my God. AC, you are now officially called Oprah. AC has been gifting memberships like crazy for like a month now. Thank you so much, AC. Everybody is gifted something from AC at some point. I feel you're so incredibly generous. I'm sorry to interrupt the story, but I just have to say thank you and welcome everyone. And 10 of you are now members here. 10 of you on the other channel are also members, all courtesy of AC. So thank you a million times over, sweetheart. I'm thinking that this masculine has said something out loud about her, about going to her, finding her no matter where she is. And I think that they have been razzed thoroughly, harassed, harangued by friends, people that know what he's about to do, people that know that he's thinking about her. And I think he's been like, yeah, the more they razz me about it, the more sure I am she's mine. The more sure I am I got to go find her. Friends might have said, isn't she the one who won't talk to you? Isn't she the one you haven't talked to? Like, she's gone, right? And he's like, yeah, she doesn't put up with any BS. Yeah, that's that's my lady. This is so crazy. It's almost with the 5 of Pentacles in the reverse. He's like, that's how I know I'm sure, because I can't stop thinking about her. Maybe that's the other thing. Maybe friends are like saying, wait a minute, I thought that you two haven't talked in what? Has it been 8 months? What do you mean you're suddenly reaching out to her, or you think about her, or what's the deal? And it's like, it's almost, he takes it as like a reverse confirmation that, yeah, she did walk away from me. Yep. Why do you think she walked away? Because we know that they had to have had some problems. They had to have. King of Pentacles. Because she either expected him to give like this. She wanted a King of Pentacles. She wanted him to be a King of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. I still don't understand why she would have walked away. Hanged Man, because he wasn't giving that. Hanged Man he was delaying. He wasn't ready to do that. So it was, here's my expectation. Here's what I expect. Here's what we should be building. And he was not in the place to do that yet. He was still self-sacrificing. Not that he didn't want to, but he was self-sacrificing. This is a card of martyrdom specifically on this particular deck. So he was saying, I've got to do these other things before I'm allowed to live my happy life. And she was over here saying, so this is what you need to be ready to give me. You know what? I think he likes the fact that she's somebody that doesn't take less. Oh, you're not going to give to me? Then you can't have me. Nope, you can't touch me if you're not going to be making me the priority of our life. If you can't commit to that, then I'm not a part of your life because I'm not your priority. So doesn't mean I don't love you, but you got to go because we can't do this. She turned into stone, but it's because she stood up for herself, and she has very powerful passion to her. But a Queen of Wands always picks what's right for herself, and a Queen of Swords has great boundaries. So I'm going to say I'm spot on with him saying it's like there's something about her getting pissed, turning around and walking off, or just not even pissed, but saying, you don't give me less than 110% because I don't deserve less than 110%. So when you can give me that is when you can be in my life, but not unless you can give me that. And I don't think she did it to be nasty or rude. I think it was just, that's my expectation. You think I'm going to be giving? but you're not building with me, or you have other things that are taking more of your energy. No, it's us. I want all of you or none of you, because I don't take less. And I think, and we could say, wow, isn't she like demanding? No, she wants to build. How do you build an empire with a king who's never around? How do you build an empire with somebody who's sacrificing all of their time, all of their even finances, all of their energy to give to others and not give to the empire you're trying to build with them? She won't build with a king that can't be present. So I'm thinking she was pretty straightforward about that, but he likes that about her. She won't put up with less. You bring her everything or you can forget it. I didn't even know now that I would say this was spicy or fiery. I think it was just good boundaries. You can't, you can love somebody, but you know better than to try to take less and be bitter over it. She doesn't get bitter. We have the Tower. Yeah, I think that if one of the things that he was sacrificing a relationship for was his ego, like career path, that was the other thing. She might have really like illuminated that for him, to the point where he even likes that about the fact she's like the one person who could maybe call him out on that. You don't put your career and ego stuff in front of me. Like I do. I think that she just simply decided, I love you. You have to love you the same way I do. You got to know you're already good enough. But if you're going to leave me to go, try to still create a name for yourself or chase down your ego, then you're not ready to be with me, because your ego is more important than our relationship. So it could have been a career. Whatever this was, he sacrificed the relationship for, and she wasn't having any of it. So with this in mind, is that why she's like, oh, I still love him? Of course I do. And I hope he's a star that he wanted to be. I don't hate him. How could I hate somebody that I loved? But I also have boundaries. So I guess that's why we saw her as a statue. She really went cold on him, but not because she didn't love him, because she's not given something she's not getting in return. This is a complicated story that actually is very straightforward all at the same time. We've got the Two of Pentacles and we've got the Princess of Wands. I will say this. Um, if it made her doubt whether or not she was enough to like attract him, that could have been something else that's like, and now a queen doesn't usually let herself worry about that. It's like, hey, if you can be peeled away from me that easy, trust me, you ain't mine anyway. If you got anybody else that you'd rather be with, or if my attractiveness isn't enough for you to choose me, then you ain't mine anyway. I wouldn't want somebody that isn't nuts about me. You got to know I'm the best thing, that I'm your number one choice out of the freedom of your own choice. Not because I tell you you need to pick me, but because you want to. And if there's something else that you want instead of me, then there's no way you're my person. And I do feel like that brought into a little bit of question in her mind, the ego or whatever this was that he let get in front of the relationship. I do think that's the other reason she's like, you definitely cannot be lukewarm about me. You notice how we've got this is a different flavor to this. And I really like the way the story is coming across, because it's not that she goes, oh, I might not be that attractive. She's like, if you're lukewarm about me at all, if you don't get what this good with this yum is all about, then you're not my person. You couldn't be. My person would never be lukewarm about me. Not, oh gosh, maybe I'm not attractive enough. You notice how that's the difference between a queen versus somebody who still needs to work to become a queen. Queens don't question their value based off of somebody else's, choices in life. It's like, it's not about me, it's about you. You're missing out on all this. That's because you're not my person, not because I'm somehow not enough. And I think that's such an important message to come out. And again, to describe how does a queen or a king hold themselves, with the sense of knowledge that I have worth. Your choices don't reflect on my value. I think that's really a strong point. And I think she conveyed that as well, with her choice to let them go or have them move along. So at this point, the one thing that I don't get though is he just hovering around out here and he's going to be coming toward her anyway, but he's been like projecting that. He's been thinking so much about her that she's just picking up his radar? Or is he actually waiting to hear something from her? Because I gotta say, if that's the case, it kind of makes me wince a bit. I don't know that I feel like that would work. No, it's just he can't turn off that internal like radar because they're two of cups. These two share an energy flow regardless. So it's just that she's picking up on the fact that he's about to come toward her. It's not that he's waiting for an invite from her and like, ooh, if she contacts me, then I'll come toward her. I was going to say he can't be fearful at all, or he could not match her because there's not any fear in her, but she can't help but pick up that vibe, right? She can't help but know that he's headed her way. How does he know that she knows though? I was still confused on that. We saw him with the chess game. I don't know. It's just something about her being full-blown Empress mode also. It's time for the harvest. There's something here. I mean, maybe I don't know if he's actually close enough to see something about her, or if if he's just picking up on her energy loud and clear as well. But it's very much like she's gone in his eyes from being a Queen of Swords to Queen of Wands to a full-blown Empress, which is like, this is the person you marry. And maybe that's just something, maybe because time has passed, these two could be older. There could be, some passage of time that has elapsed. And, sometimes I think of empresses and emperors as being older. They really, truly have themselves all figured out. They've already built their empire. Did he stop like sacrificing his energy somewhere? We've got a Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Did he sacrifice a life with her because he had a child that was still having to grow up? Was it like until my kid's 18? And it's now he doesn't have babies anymore. He doesn't have, a child, I mean, whatever age, right? This could have been, he met her when his kid was 17. He's like, I got to wait till my kid's 18. It could be something along those lines. I don't quite understand why you would ever say that because you have a child, then that prevents you from having a relationship, though. I mean, I can't say I don't understand why that would ever happen, but you know what I'm saying? Like, when she's amazing and supposedly he's amazing, why would that have been something where it's like, but I can't possibly be with this amazing person if I still have a child? We got the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. Maybe this was about I can't move or I can't leave the area that I live in because this is about a new beginning. I couldn't have a new beginning yet. Or even like I had to give all my resources here, which would have meant I wouldn't have been giving all my resources to my relationship with her. I don't know. I'd have to know all the details about that one for it to make sense in my head. But apparently, when I'm saying, has that changed? He's like, well, I don't have a little kiddo anymore. I don't have something else that prevents me from having this new beginning. So what are you going to do, masculine? Because it looks like King of Swords he's already made the announcement, like to friends, of what he's doing, and they've thoroughly razzed him. Justice card. You coming in to fix what's been wrong? Because it's looking like he feels like this was messed up. He feels like this was wrong. Magician sideways. He's saying, I'm hoping I can fix it. I'm hoping I can fix the fact that let me look one more time. With the Justice card, what is it that you feel has to be course corrected here? King of Swords. I should be 10,000% hers. I should have been team Queen of Swords instead of, remember, he was the King of Swords sideways. What was wrong is that I wasn't team Queen of Swords. Okay, good. So you understand that this was the thing, that you can't give somebody 50% of you or hold back from building a consistent life with you. She actually had to kick you out because you were not ready to give to her 100%. And she said, then I can't give to you. So he's like, yeah, and that was wrong. I should have been able to give to her 100%. Okay, I have a lot I could say about that, but I'm going to zip it. Magician sideways is clarified by the 3 of Pentacles upright. Now he's like, I just hope that she'll let me show what it would be like if I'm given 100% of me to building this with her now. I'm all in with her. Okay. The fact that we started out with her feeling like she was thinking about sending a message to them, like a message of, I hope you're doing well, or something along those lines, makes me think that she's probably wanting to connect with him. She definitely is feeling the connection to him still. But let me just ask for her. Do you want this person back? I feel like we should go this deck. Do you want him back? King of Cups sideways. And it's like, well, I guess that would really depend on what he's offering. 50% of him, 50% of his energy. Remember, I don't do 50. I'm upright queen, always have been, always will be. So you bring me 50 and you don't get anything from me. Or you certainly don't get more than 50% of my attention. So she's right back. She's actually saying if he comes in with 50%, he gets only 50% of me. And because I don't step down from being a queen, you can forget it. It means it won't work at all. He comes in as a full-blown emperor. Now we're talking. You notice that she actually expects more. She doesn't even expect him to come in as a king. She really, I think in her mind, it's like he already knows what happens when you come in with 50%. That means I won't even speak to him. I'll still wish him well. I'll tell him, yep, love you too, hon. Not in this lifetime, though. Now, if he comes in as an emperor, okay. You notice she doesn't have an option for him just coming in as a king, though. That concerns me a little bit because he's saying I should have come in as a king. No, now you have to come in as an emperor. She's not going to take just a king. King's too little now. You had enough time. You got to go ahead. You got to bring in everything that you got. 3 of Pentacles, the Sun in the reverse. She doesn't want him saying, I'm here to work on things with you. She's like, you better have your shit worked out. You better come in to offer me the kingdom already. You got to know just what you're doing. We're not building together. You got to know what you're offering me. You have to offer me something at this point. I'm not going to be happy with you coming in to say, hey, do I want to build with you? Hell no, I don't want to build with you. You already had the chance to build with me. You didn't do it. Now you better have built something and you couldn't come in and you offer me something. You should have already built something now. I would have built with you, but you didn't do it. You were busy building still elsewhere or sacrificing what you could have done with me. Now I'm a double dose of queen energy. And in fact, we've seen her. He says she's actually an empress, which means the ante is up. When time passes, characters evolve, characters grow, characters become more. Guess what? The price goes up. The cost of being in a relationship and the expectation of what needs to be brought to the table has now, it's gone up. I'm not saying that how he's coming in is going to be like a direct reject, but this actually doesn't look like he's going to come in and fix things. It kind of looks like he might come in and bomb epically in this, because he's still thinking, now I'm going to get her to work with me. And she's like, what do you mean? I've been building my life without you. I'm well beyond working with you to build something. You'd have to offer me something. You don't ask me to contribute to build your vision. You'd have to offer me something. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not saying it's like, wow, you have to have a ton of money. It just says that the level of commitment has to be so much more significant now. We're not going to date and see what happens. You should know what you want with me. And if you still don't know the answer to that, again, you're not my person. Yikes. See, I think this might be him saying, now I can date her. She's way past that. If you don't know what you want, if you're still going to just be in the trial run, she's going to take it as, this does not please me. It gives me clarity, though. Well, I mean, that's the way I'm reading it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying those are the cards we got. Universe, you want to weigh in one more time on this? Because I do not see this. I will say 10 of Cups is upside down at the bottom of the deck. No, it's just that one card. The rest of them are not in the reverse. It's just Sometimes we get the reversals, and they, however they are, they are. Universe, you want to weigh in? Five of Coins. It is going to be, as much as these two have a connection, if he comes in and she still is being offered less, especially now, especially after all this, it's going to hit like, kind of like trying to swallow a brick. It's not going to go down well. Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Cups. She's going to look at him as somebody who's so selfish and indulgent. You want a new beginning because it pleases you. What the hell would please me about this? What are you offering? You still just want to self-satisfy. Ooh. And it pleases you to not give me what I'm worth. I am sorry, this is coming across pretty bumpy right now. Universe, do you have a message just for her? Six of Wands is, it does look like it's his success, but the Seven of Swords. I'm sorry that I have to read it this way, but the universe says to her, if you really believe that he gets off on getting away with doing things that are not worthy of the attention you would have given him, if you really believe that about him, then you won't be able to connect well with him anyway, because you'll always think you like to get away with stuff. You want me to take you back after you didn't give to me, and now you're going to come in and you're still not offering me enough. But you get off on the idea that you can get away with that somehow. If she has a chip on her shoulder and thinks that of him, I'm not saying that is him, but if she thinks that, I can't see how you'd have a happy relationship. How do you have a relationship with somebody where you're like, you're a little sneak, I never really trust you, and you get really thrilled and happy when you think you're getting away with something? I don't see any queen or empress feeling that way about her mate. That's not going to be that. A queen or an empress respects their mate, has their mate's back, does not think this poorly of them. And I think that says, if this is what she believes, there's no way that this is going to work. She can still say, I love this person, but I think they're a little sneak, and that's why I won't take them back. She's going to have to make that tough call, but she's going to have to answer that question about them, I think, about how she views them. Because how do you have a good relationship with someone that you don't authentically respect? Okay, universe, what's the message for him? Two of Pentacles. Has he been wishy-washy? Does he hedge bets? Is he always juggling to see how much do I have to give to get what I want out of a situation? If this is the core of the way he operates, then you're always looking for the best deal. How do you operate? I mean, a Two of Coins is nothing, right? You're not ready to give the Ten of Pentacles. You're trying to figure out, instead of like, how much can we give and build together? You're trying to figure out how little can I put in to still yield a result. That is not somebody ready for the Ten of Pentacles. You want a new beginning where you barely start messing around dating her to figure out how much you can get away with. If this is how he feels about the situation, he needs to be honest with himself about this. Again, the universe is bringing up the really hard questions that could, maybe shed important light on if this is, because these are the worst things I could think of for, an underlying like erosion of what a connection where there is love. This would erode the connection if this is the way they're operating or this is how they're feeling about each other. So they do need to ask themselves maybe those tough questions, because otherwise I think that these two are going to be doomed all over again. Now, if they can answer those questions and they come out with better answers, like, no, God, I want to give her everything. She's amazing. That's what he's coming in with. And if she can either believe that of him or start to believe that of him, so her mind doesn't go this route, I could see them being great together. But not if they fundamentally, she thinks he's always trying to give me less than I'm worth, and he likes to get away with that. He likes to erode how much I should receive and see how little he can give me and keep me. I mean, who wants to be treated like that? She's going to wind up hating him, and probably vice versa, because they're going to start to be real toxic. This is great that they're looking at this now, but it was a Two of Cups relationship. So either these are lessons that they still have to have gotten through and acknowledge that, so this isn't even a part of it and they can move forward and be great together, or these are the reasons they can't be together still. Eight of Swords. All I can say is the universe says this is the sticking point. If these two can't be totally vulnerable and reassure each other and maybe even have these really difficult conversations, like, maybe she's going to particularly have to say, do you want to give me, what do you want to give me? What is your vision for us? What is it that when you look at me, what do you want to offer? Like, what's your plan for us? And if he's got to be like, well, I don't know, I figured we just kind of see where it goes. I don't think that these two can have those lighthearted conversations, because they already had too much backstory. They already had too much of a bond. I think that's going to cheapen the importance of this connection, and it could crush it if we have a negative outcome. But these conversations have to happen. They've got to make sure that there isn't like game playing or low key passive aggressive insults. Like they've got to have the tough conversations. And those are tough conversations to have, to make sure that they trust one another, especially after their history. Look, if they can shed light on things, and I will say kind of a lot of the stuff that he maybe needs to clarify, because let's be honest, in this storyline, although it sounds one-sided, it was one-sided. She was all queen energy. He was a sideways king. He was procrastination, martyrdom. She wasn't. So she already didn't get what she would have needed from him, which he acknowledges was wrong. But if he's coming back in to just barely give her the baseline of, okay, now we can kind of date, he's going to have to shed light on all kinds of stuff and really say, this is what I'm manifesting with you. This is what I'm back to do with you. It's not enough for him to just be like, oh yeah, she won't put up with my crap. If this little grinning, lying, like, yeah, she told me to get lost because she won't put up with my garbage, but now I'll come back in and kind of work on stuff with her. If he gets off on this, it's not gonna fly. He has to be at the helm of this ship. He has to be the person who knows where this is going, knows what he wants to give, and it can't just be words and lip service. He's got to really manifest it. And didn't we see him as a magician sideways at some point, or was that in another story? Sorry, it's been so long now. I think it was the other story that I just got done doing on the other channel. Do these two have a shot? Universe, I mean, they get to decide, right? But do these two have a shot? Or is this one that could epically flop? I mean, we can see that it could epically flop, but do they have a shot? It started out so powerful. The Moon and the Three of Cups. The universe is like, it all depends. These two aren't going to communicate. We know that, but it could be wonderful. But the universe can't tell what characters are going to do. What are they going to talk about? They're going to talk. We know that with the Three of Cups. But will they get to the conversations that need to be had? Or will they have a lovely little, whatever, glass of wine and a nice little reunion, and they'll try to start kind of dating, and it'll start out with some, it feels good to be back together a little bit, but all those unspoken conversations and those little like micro irritations will start to surface. It all depends if they can talk about what needs to be talked about. So the universe just says it's up to them. They want to see each other again, and there is great potential for great happiness, but it all depends on how they handle this. And again, there is a chance that this could be handled really, really, really well. If that magician is upright, if that is him shedding light and being really clear on everything, and maybe he won't even have it like click in his head until she says it out loud to him. Like, the thing that I'm fearful about for these characters is that, sometimes you don't fully grow up until somebody says something to you that is like they just dumped a bucket of cold water on you, and you go, holy shit, I am so ashamed of myself that I didn't see it that way until you said it. And oh my God, we have those moments where, great people all the time can still be kind of foolish until somebody like says it in a really blunt language. And then they go, that was so messed up. And I'm thinking that's what I fear about this, is that he's thinking, it was real messed up that I didn't give to her like a King of Swords upright. I only gave her 50% before. So now I'm going to come in and be like, okay, so now we can kind of date and see what happens. That's going to be another insult. And I don't think he means it that way. But in this storyline, we can see she's going to take it that way. She's not going to deal with him. And I think I don't think he's trying to be callous, because he's trying to be a King of Swords upright. But he's got to be more than that. And he's got to understand why he's got to be more than that now. And if she has to say it in a way that makes him understand it, it might be that he really wants to give all that extra, but he just hadn't necessarily had it put in such blunt terms. Sometimes we don't get stuff until we walk in somebody else's shoes and see it through their lens. And sometimes we never get to unless they tell it to us. Okay, I say all that, but honestly, again, if you got to tell somebody what they should give instead of them just wanting to give that, then I personally would be like, yeah, definitely still not her person. But I don't know. It's all about lessons, right? This is such a tough, twisty, windy storyline because we can see so much lesson in this, and there is love, but there's also a lot of room for growth, and growth that really still has to happen. So we're going to leave that there and wish them the best is all I can say. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Great to see everybody. Thank you again, AC. Calm C, hey, hey. Jessica H. Karen Bishop, great to see you. Miss So the Peaceful Observer. Thank you again, Denisa. EM, hi, honey. Great to see you. You think so, Calm C? I understand. RS, sweet dreams to you, hun. Ginger Montague, great to catch you tonight. Robert Bruce, Ground Zero, hallelujah. Thanks again, Miss So the Peaceful Observer. Pawn of Aries, hey, hey. Spot on, Denisa. Someone who avoided their own feelings, they would likely ignore someone else's also. I hear ya. Well said. So, Robert Bruce, you must be new here. I say it ad nauseum that I don't read for genders. So you're going to have to, as an audience member, just be able to understand that I have to be able to go with the images that we see on the cards for me to be able to tell a story so we know which character is which. Otherwise, I'd have to give them gender neutral first names. So that's not possible. So every time I say he, it's because what we had was a King of Swords. We had an Emperor. That's why I was calling him a him. When we see a feminine on the card, I say the feminine. So that's how I have to be able to tell a story, right? Because otherwise the audience, if I just keep saying they, we don't know who's who in the story. But I don't read for genders. Now, I think I see that you are trying to count out all of the different zodiacs as feminine or masculine. That's fine, but you can just go ahead and do that, however you perceive that as an audience member. You can hear it, then you get to apply whatever you want. Just like interpretation of any kind of art is always up to the individual. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear for you. You as an audience member, you have all the power to hear and interpret a fictional story however you wish. So I hope that helps. Bruce Reed, hi, honey. Oh, so good to see you, love. I hope you're doing great. Johnny the Carnut, great to see you. Victoria Knox. All right, you guys, I will probably see you. I'm going to still do some of the zodiacs on the other channel. So I will see some of you over there. All right, you guys, lots of love. Thanks for popping by and hanging with me. All right, sweet dreams, everybody. Bye.